Hi, Figured Out fans. Today we are doing some more Figured Out cooking, and today I guess I'm going to show you how to make my famous meatloaf. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started so you guys can try to get yourself hungry. All right, so what I'm going to typically start off with is an onion. This is a medium to a medium large onion. We're going to dice that. Now, what I typically do, always have a sharp knife. It defeats the purpose if you got all day. But one of the things I do when cutting onions, you don't see this, is I light a candle. And what a candle will do, and I guess you can't see it, but I'll light a candle. And what a candle will do is when you are cutting onions, onions give off a gas. And that gas is what makes your eyes water and burn and just feel horrible. And that's what we're going to try to avoid. So always make sure that when you cut the onion, you have a flat part. I usually take off the first layer of skin of an onion because sometimes it can be chewy. Who wants a chewy onion? So I'm just going to remove. You can't see me, but I'm at the trash can removing that top layer. So here we have that. I'm going to dice this. This is by far one of my favorite recipes, and it's different. You're going to find out that my recipe is totally different from the recipes that you guys are used to having at your dinner table. I have family and friends that literally request this for Sunday dinner, and I've had people actually request this, and I have actually made this for Thanksgiving. Trips me out, but they love it, and if they love it, I'm gonna make it. So chopping these onions up. Just like so. They don't have to be fine, they just need to be diced. We're gonna mix this in with our meat. Just so you know, I have 1.5 pounds of ground chuck. It's important that you get chuck and not ground beef. And if you can, just get it as lean as possible. I typically do 80-20. If you can do the 73 lean, go ahead and do it. But all you need is 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds worth of ground chuck. The other thing that I use is Johnsonville hot sausage. It is the Italian sausage, so make sure you get the Italian sausage, not bratwurst. But those are the two meats that we're going to use today. Almost finished with these onions. My allergies have been acting up all day today. All right, so I've diced my onions. I have a large bowl. It's huge. You're gonna put the onions in this bowl. Everything you do for your meatloaf going forward will be in this large bowl. I always tell people to go ahead and invest in the proper kitchen gadgets, cookware, tools. Like I say, if you buy one great set, it'll last you forever. You won't have to worry about it. A lot of different cookware actually comes with guarantees, and one of those is the Le Creuset pans. Now these are to die for. These are stoneware. I have the deep dish stoneware here. It's 8 quarts. So again, make sure you get a great, ooh, that was my oven. I am preheating the oven to 375 degrees. So make sure you do that. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use this nice Le Creuset pan. I'm gonna spray it with some cooking spray. I use Pam, just regular Pam. Nothing super fancy about that. We have onions. Now I have about 10 cloves of garlic that I'm about to add to this. Here's the thing. The cloves, because I'm using real garlic and not, you know, garlic powder, or I'm actually having to put garlic. I don't want my hands to smell like garlic like later on. But I like the way garlic tastes, and the more the better. So I'm gonna put, this is a garlic press. Again, great gadget. And I'm just gonna put my little cloves in here. This also eliminates a lot of work if you had to press this out with, let's just say, a knife and not a garlic press. You could possibly ruin your knife, which I'm not gonna do, and or you'll have garlic everywhere. You're not really mixing. You won't get the right oil that you want to get pressed out from the garlic. You can hear the cracking of this, so fresh. And again, I have my candle going. I really don't have issues, and you won't have issues. You shouldn't have issues with your eyes when you're doing garlic, but because I'm still dealing with some onions at the bottom of this, I'm gonna keep it on. Plus, it smells great. Your house will start smelling like food. And what do I have today? Rose water and ivy. Almost finished pressing. And like I said, these gadgets, they'll last your lifetime. Just make sure you don't go cheapo on them. I typically order from Pampered Chef. And if I'm not doing Pampered Chef, I am typically on Macy's. The seller at Macy's has excellent cooking utensils. I also go to Crate and Barrel. They have some really unique kitchen utensils. Williams-Sonoma, oh my God, unbelievable kitchen utensils. Okay, so most of your sausage is going to come in an actual casing. We're not going to use the casing for a meatloaf. So what I typically do is a paring knife. It's very, very sharp. It's almost like a scalpel. And I remove the casing from my sausage. Now, this is a 19-ounce package of hot sausage. You can use mild sausage if you want. I personally wouldn't use sweet. I don't believe that your meat should be sweet. You know, some people, you know, actually like the savory piece of not necessarily having something sweet. But in meatloaf, sweet meatloaf, I don't do sweet meatloaf. So we're gonna take these casings off, place them in our bowl. Now, there are a couple different things that's gonna happen. I still have my gloves on, as you notice, and the reason I do is because we're gonna monster mash this meatloaf. And the casings, they should come off rather easy, as you can see. They just peel off once you cut them. Just like so. Okay, so I have my sausage done. Now I'm gonna add my ground chuck. And like I said, make sure you get this lean. You can use ground beef, but ground chuck is better. So ground chuck, ground sirloin, any of those cuts will give your meat a lot more flavor. And so here we go. Now before I start mixing, there are a couple things we're gonna add to this. One would be 2 eggs. I'm gonna rinse my hands off of those eggs because I'm about to touch seasoning containers. Okay, so yeah, I always wash my hands before I touch something plastic, especially if I've used meat or eggs. So this is about half a teaspoon of pepper. I wouldn't even do anything over that because you're already using hot sausage. If you're not using hot sausage, then half a teaspoon is still pretty good with the mild. Just don't go nuts with it. So half a teaspoon of black pepper. These are the garlic and herb breadcrumbs. I'm gonna put about 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs in here. Now, my seasonings. I'm gonna use the original Mrs. Dash. Let's just go ahead and say 1 teaspoon of this. If you wanna add more, you can. 1 teaspoon of your Emerils Essence. I love this. You can get this at Publix, Wegmans, Kroger. Unfortunately, I have not seen it at Walmart. So Walmart, if you're listening, make a choice. Weber has a great line of seasoning products. I use probably every seasoning that they come out with. The one with the actual grill top is too cute. But this is actually Kickin Chicken. Kickin Chicken is like this super seasoning. It really is not just for chicken. I use it on just about everything that I'm trying to season. So I use a little Kickin Chicken, and I would say this is about a teaspoon of this as well. Now, my secret ingredient is the lower sodium Dale's seasoning. A lot of people use this for their steak sauces if they're making steaks. You can actually use this and make it like a, you can mix this with some balsamic vinegar and make like a balsamic glaze sauce or a reduction sauce. It's really good, but you can mix this with just about everything. You can marinate this. You can use them, you know, for like a ton of reasons. So I typically do a teaspoon of this. And because it's low sodium, I can actually add just a pinch of salt. So nothing big time with the salt, because some of the seasonings that we had in here before, such as Kickin Chicken and the Emerils seasonings, they already have salt in them. So you don't have to go wild with the salt. So now that you see all of this, everything's just kind of in here. We have our garlic, we have our onions, we have our eggs, and we're gonna mash. So now you see why I kept on my handy dandy gloves. We're gonna make this meat one thing, hence the meatloaf, but I want you to really pay attention to the way we're mixing the sausage and the actual ground chuck together. That's really important. We're adding an egg to make sure that it congeals when it bakes and it's not like falling apart. You really want it to be a presentation. But in the end, you really want it to be real good. So I'm mixing this, making sure I am even on the egg mixture, and I'm even on my onions, my breadcrumbs, my seasonings, all of that is just gonna mix together. And again, when you have a big bowl like this, it allows you to kind of move around and play. Okay, got our mixture ready. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you how I put this actually together. We already have our baking pan scrape. So we're gonna just shape it into a loaf. And as you can see, pat it down. A lot of people, see how pretty that is. A lot of people, you want to leave some room on both sides of the loaf itself. A lot of people mess up and they just go, you know, like it's a big hump in the middle. That'll make your cooking time a lot longer. We want to make sure that it cooks evenly and that it cooks thoroughly. So now that I've already done that part, I add a cup of water. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour it on top, just like so. What we wanna do is make sure that we maintain some moisture while we're baking. Now, something that a lot of people don't do that I do, I spray the top of my meatloaf with cooking spray. The reason I do that is so that it gives it some type of a crust. Not really a crust, but it just kind of conceals in all of the different flavors as we're putting it in the oven. So right now I'm gonna put some aluminum foil over this, and I'm gonna put this in the oven at 375 degrees for about 45 minutes. So we'll be back as soon as we get that done. Okay, so 45 minutes have passed, and I have decided to take off the aluminum foil casing that I had around the actual pan. This has an amazing smell going on in my kitchen. So hopefully you are enjoying the same thing. What we're about to do now is allow the meatloaf to build a crust on top of it. So I'm going to show you what it actually looks like now. And what we'll do is we'll let it brown for another 15 minutes, and then we will start to make our gravy. See you in a sec. Okay, so we have been back in the oven for another 15 minutes at 375 so that we can get a nice beautiful brown and crust to our meatloaf. So what we're about to do now is make the gravy. This is very hot. But one of the things I have, oh my God, this is such a lifesaver. I love this. This is a measuring cup glass mixer. And you can get this on Pampered Chef. It is the most awesomest, if that's even a word, gadget that I actually have. It can do everything. It can be the mixing bowl. It actually has quarts, liters, and cups and ounces listed so that you can actually do a large portion versus just having to do everything, you know, step by step with one. So this one is a multi-cup. It's awesome. But what we're going to do here is we're going to make our gravy. My gravy, honestly, is super simple. In fact, it is this old school Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. We're actually going to use 4 cans of these. But what's going to make ours a little different is that we're going to take the liquids that's already in our meatloaf, and we are going to pour it into this mixing bowl. So here again, be careful with this when you're doing this. See, it'll slide. All right, so now the meatloaf is all by itself. I'm going to push this to a side so that you can see us make our gravy. All right, so now I have like the juice from the actual meatloaf itself. It has the onion, it has the garlic, it has the seasoning. So you don't have to do any seasoning to this because we've already technically done that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the cups, I mean the cans rather. So I have my spatula so I can get it out. Like I said, this is still hot, so still treat it as if, so you won't get burnt. But the cool thing about putting it in this mixing glass is because of the temperature. And it's an easy cleanup. All I have to do is rinse this off when I'm done with it and put it in a dishwasher. It's like a no-brainer, no-brainer. So it makes it very easy peasy for your cleanup. The other thing I do is I try to clean up while I'm cooking so that I don't have much. So like in my downtime, like when I'm actually putting the meatloaf in the oven, I'm actually cleaning up my kitchen so that I won't have all that work left to do once I am done fixing dinner for the fam. So okay, so I'm still adding the 4 cans here. And okay, there we go. All right, so we've gotten all of our mushrooms together. Let me put this off to the side. I'm gonna just take a whisk and just stir this together. Initially, you're just gonna wanna fold this into the soup mixture. Again, it's hot, so make sure you're careful. Once you finish kind of folding it up, you're gonna want a particular texture to this. And it should really be smooth. It shouldn't be chunky like it is now. It should be rather smooth. Now, I think that this is too thick for me. So what I will do is get another can of, I'll take one of the empty cans, I'll fill this with water, and then we'll add it to the mixture. And we'll do the same as what we just did. Again, you don't have to add a bunch of seasonings. You don't have to do anything. The meatloaf itself will speak for itself, and this gravy is going to be, ooh, it's going to be serious. A lot of people use the tomato base. You can. I don't want to do that. This one is so different, and your guests, if you have guests, they won't see this coming. They won't even know what your secret is to this particular meatloaf. They're going to try to ask you a bunch of questions like, oh, what did you do? How did you do it? Da, 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 da. It's very easy, and yet they don't have to know all of that. Okay, I'm happy with that texture. So again, extra shortcuts. So what I do is I get a 12-ounce package of already sliced white mushrooms. You don't have to worry about it. It's already pre-washed. And it's going to be very, very pretty. It's going to give the kind of crunch, because we're not going to have this in the oven for long. We're going to put this back in the oven for another 20 minutes. But what I tend to do is the following. I take the mushrooms and I just put it on top of, put it off to the sides, put it on top of the meatloaf. Now you can buy the whole mushrooms and slice them up. This is basically the same thing, just a little step easier. So, as you can see, that's kind of how I have it layered. And now we're just going to pour this. See, pouring spout is like perfect. And we're just making sure that it is covered with our gravy. Our gravy will start to eat up the essence of the actual meatloaf. And that's ready. So we're gonna go ahead and put this back in the oven for another 20 minutes. We're still at 375. And we're gonna do that uncovered. I will set my kitchen timer so that I don't get thrown off. I almost pushed the actual microwave so that you can actually turn the microwave on. Not cool. All right, so one of the other things I like to do is I like to actually serve my meatloaf with rice. Now, this is a trick. I went to college with 5 amazing women, and I don't think 5 of them, maybe 1, can actually fix rice. So if that be the case, 2 out of 6 ladies, they don't know how to make rice. It seems to be the most complex thing. Either it's undercooked or it's mushy and overcooked, and you don't really get the right consistency that you're looking for when you do this. So anyway, I like to serve my my meatloaf with rice. I always use jasmine rice. Number one, it always has like a nutty yet very light flavor. It's fluffier. The way that it sticks to other rice is very consistent. And honestly, it's kind of foolproof. You can't really mess up jasmine rice. So I'm going to give you my little tricks and tips on how to make rice. It is very, very easy, people. I don't know why this is like one of the most complicated things to do in culinary. I don't get it, but we'll go through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 3 cups of water. Now, a lot of people will use, let's just say, regular cup. A measuring cup for the actual measuring of a solid or anything other than liquid should go in your cup. Anything other than that should go into similar to what I just showed you with the glass mixing bowl, or you can actually use one of these measuring cups. It does liquid and it does solids, and so this is a better measurement of the actual liquid. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 3 cups of water into the pot. I don't have this pot preheated. So you will see. I actually sprinkle everything white I salt. So that would be grits, rice, pasta, cream sauces, anything that we're going to use that's white based, bread, things of that nature. We always add some salt to it. It's bland to begin with, so we have to do something to kind of liven it up, and so we use a little salt. So I'm going to put a little salt in here. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit. So if I had to tell you how much I put in here, let's just say maybe a 1/4 teaspoon, not even that much. Next thing I went to go get was some butter. Some people use margarine. Not my favorite thing. I think the consistency that butter has is not over processed. Margarine is. It has a oil base. This has more of a cream base. So you want to necessarily use more authentic and whole ingredients when you're cooking. Margarine is not one of those things. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of butter, and you just drop this, take the wrapper off, drop it in like so. So now I'm going to use this measuring cup, and I'm going to get 2 cups of jasmine rice. Now, one of the things I'm guilty of is actually buying rice in bulk. I have I think this is like a 15, 16 pound bag of jasmine rice. I get it at Costco. It is absolutely fabulous. I think I paid like $6 or $7 for it. It lasts you a good 6 months. So definitely make sure you buy in bulk. It's actually cheaper, and the product in the rice that I actually get from Costco is a high quality brand. So we're gonna put 2 cups. So that's one. We're gonna get the second one. Now, I always use a wooden spoon when I'm using a clad pot. Metal on this will scratch it, and it'll take away the clad. So use a wooden spoon or something like a plastic or cellophane utensil when you're cooking with a clad pot. We're gonna turn this on medium high, not even medium high. Medium is about good. I'm gonna put this on medium, and I'm gonna stir this up. I'm gonna put a lid on it, and we are gonna set it and forget it. Literally, this is gonna be on for about 15 minutes, and so we'll show you the actual finished product when it gets done. But for right now, I'm gonna take my wooden spoon. Doesn't scratch the bottom of this pot. The butter is still gonna be solid. I've stirred that pretty good. You can see this. Nothing exciting about that. I'm going to put the lid on it. I'm going to leave some inch of air space. So we're not going to close it all the way. So I just put it like this. So you still have like some air to vent. And we're going to leave that on medium, and we're going to do that for 15 minutes. By the time this is done, our meatloaf will be ready. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. I've actually turned the heat off on this, and if you can see, my rice is done. Now, it's still a little wet at the top. I'm not too particular about wet rice, so I'm gonna put the lid over it, and I'm just gonna switch it to an eye that doesn't have any heat on it. Now, interestingly enough, the thing about cooking on a stovetop and in a gas, in an electric oven, your cooking preferences may be a little different depending on your oven and depending on your stove, especially if you're doing a gas versus electric. So sometimes you may have to cook your items either a little bit more or a little bit less, depending on how you calibrate your actual appliances and the heat that they apply. So now that's ready, and the other thing that's ready is the meatloaf. So let's just go see what our meatloaf looks like. very creamy. And I know that sounds weird, but trust me, this taste is unbelievable. And I'm gonna let you see. Now, another little trick. We just want to make our plates look real pretty sometimes. So I always cut my loaves or even my whole meat. So like chicken, turkey, ham, things of that nature. I use an electric knife. It is awesome. Some of these only cost like $19. I have a Cuisinart. It's awesome. I've had it for like 6 years now. It's probably one of my favorite tools as well. So I don't have